Hi, I'm Katerina. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, as bad as the first quarter of this year has been, it looks like we're going to have some serious fireworks when it comes to the last quarter of this year. Or maybe I should say the second half of the year. Because we've got Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao. We've got Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Or at least if Tyson Fury doesn't pull another COVID card or some other excuse and pulls out of the fight. And then it looks like we're going to see Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter. It was just reported the other day, the WBO has surprisingly ordered Terence Crawford to fight Shawn Porter, which by far is one of the best moves I've seen any of these organizations pull. And I wanted to bring up this point because I noticed when I reported this news of the WBO ordering this fight, a lot of people in the comment section, they said, oh, they'll order this fight? How come they never ordered Canelo Alvarez to fight Jermall Charlo? When Charlo was Canelo's mandatory at 160. And this is true. Shawn Porter has been the #1 contender for Crawford's belt for a little less than a year, around a year. Canelo Alvarez, when it comes to his mandatory Jermall Charlo, Jermall was his mandatory for 2 years. But they did order Canelo to take the fight after the 2 years. But the difference was Canelo vacated the belt. How many of you guys think Terence Crawford is going to vacate the belt rather than fight Shawn Porter? And that right there is one of the many reasons why Terence Crawford is pound for pound the best fighter in the world. When you're pound for pound the best fighter in the world, then you show the confidence of a pound for pound champion. You can't be calling yourself the best if you truly don't believe in your heart that you are the best. The only way you can prove that you're the best is if you're willing to fight anyone that is calling you out. I mean, could you guys imagine if Terence Crawford, he was avoiding everyone at 147? Let's just say Porter was calling him out. Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, they're all calling him out. Shawn Porter becomes his mandatory, and Crawford surprisingly vacates the belt, hands it over to Shawn Porter, and then instead of fighting any of the dangerous fighters in his own division, he moves up to a higher weight class where all of the champions happen to be coincidentally European white fighters that are C-level fighters, nowhere near as dangerous as the monsters in his own division at 147. Be honest. What would these non-black fans be saying about Terence Crawford if he did that? We know what they would be saying. So Terence Crawford, he finally reacted to this news of the WBO ordering this fight. And here's what he had to say. He said, I've been begging for a real challenge for years. All the so-called elite welterweights have shown no interest in fighting me. Now one of them is finally being forced to. I'll show once again why I'm the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Be ready, end quote. So there it is. There's no doubt that Terence Crawford is making it very clear that he's already accepted the challenge. Now we have to make sure that Shawn Porter is accepting the challenge as well. I mean, I believe he will because there's no reason for him to turn down the fight. He's going to get all the money that he's been asking for. And if Shawn Porter can be the first person to beat the pound for pound best fighter in the world, that clearly gives him extreme leverage against anyone in the welterweight division. Now, let me clear this up because when I reported this news about the WBO ordering this fight, I seen a couple fans saying that, oh, finally, Terence Crawford is not going to duck Shawn Porter and he's willing to fight him. Number one, the only time you would ever hear someone being accused of ducking a guy that has lost to the guy that you actually want to fight, which is Errol Spence, This would only happen to a black fighter. Only a black fighter would be accused of ducking the actual loser in the tournament. This is the reason why you have playoffs in other sports, right? The team that continues to win, they continue to advance. You don't play against the team that just lost in the playoffs. No, you play against the team that just advanced, right? Now, we all know that when Terence Crawford couldn't get Errol Spence in the ring, him and Bob Arum, they were pushing hard to try to get the Manny Pacquiao fight. And you guys remember Terence Crawford? He said to Shawn Porter, I'm working on something big right now. But if this fight doesn't go down, you're on standby, which means you're the backup plan, right? Then out of nowhere, the WBO, they decide to make Virgil Ortiz the #1 contender. But that wasn't the most shocking part. What was shocking about that whole situation is Shawn Porter didn't even complain about it. He just said, hey man, that's the business of boxing. And then he just moved on like it wasn't even a big deal. And I played the clip for you guys so I don't have to play it again. I played it in my very last video. If you guys haven't seen that video, go watch it. The video where I reported, the WBO ordering this fight. I played a clip where Shawn Porter, he's talking about who he wants to fight next. He's talking about fighting Jamal James. And then he said, he looked at Keith Thurman and basically he implied, this is what he said actually. He said, how about I fight Jamal James, you fight Ugas, and then you and me, we figure it out after that. Which is implying that they fight against each other after that. So that means Shawn Porter, he pretty much didn't really care about the Terence Crawford fight anymore. Matter of fact, in that same interview, he starts it off by saying, you guys all know that I really wanted the Terence Crawford fight, but he's already on the other side of the road, meaning he's with Top Rank and I'm with PBC. So, I'm letting that go. That's pretty much what he was saying. But as I told you guys in the last video, I have to repeat this. When Manny Pacquiao was with Top Rank, everybody on PBC's end, everybody from PBC was still calling out Manny Pacquiao, which proves if these fighters really want to fight, it doesn't matter who they fight for. They're going to make the fight happen. Just like they've made the Tyson Fury versus Wilder fight happen going on 3 times. I mean, I hear some fans say, Shawn Porter, he's been calling out Terence Crawford for a long time. I mean, but let's just be honest. Let's be realistic about this. Ryan Garcia has been calling out Tank Davis for a long time. Teofimo Lopez has been telling us he's fighting Devin Haney next. He even went so far as to say, I don't even care if he loses to Jorge Linares. I'll still fight him. He said, I still want the fight, right? Now he's talking about fighting against Lomachenko next. Now he doesn't even mention Devin Haney's name anymore. Sometimes it really means something when fighters are calling out other fighters. But then other times, you can't go off of that. You have to go off of their actions. You have to go off of the facts. And once again, the facts are Shawn Porter, he was already talking about possibly fighting Jamal James and then Keith Thurman after that. Terence Crawford was no longer a priority for Shawn Porter, which is the reason why this is such great news that the WBO has ordered this fight. Because now, neither fighter has a reason not to take this fight. Not Terence Crawford or Shawn Porter. And I truly believe, once again, now Shawn Porter is going to take this fight. I am still waiting, though, to hear him say something similar to what Terence Crawford just said. Now, I think Shawn Porter, he said something he's already training, but, I want to hear him say something a little bit more directed towards Terence Crawford. So, I look forward to seeing this fight getting announced soon. It's all good news for both fighters because they have 30 days to agree to terms. And if they can't agree, then it goes to purse bid. So either way, this is good news for them. This fight is going to be extremely explosive, guys. I mean, to see these type of styles in the ring together. And when you think about the fact that, once again, Terence Crawford, he had been trying to break into this PBC party for years. You guys remember it was a time when everyone was feeling sorry for Terence Crawford because he was always the man outside of the party looking in. And now he's finally broken in. I'm really looking forward to watching this fight. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this one up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Care Liners on Instagram.